Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Collage Live Online. My name is Rick Cassini-Cador, and I'm the editor and publisher of Kolaj Magazine. Collage Live Online is a virtual series of programs by Collage Institute that seek to deepen our understanding of collage as a medium, a genre, a community, and a 21st century art movement. So welcome everyone today. I'm gonna speak a little bit about World Collage Day today, and particularly how to, where it came from, what it's all about. And we welcome you to comment and be present in the chat, as well as use the Q&A function. I'm going to speak a little bit about World Collage Day, and then we are going to hear from some folks who've been doing World Collage Day these last couple of years. And then we're going to take your questions and answers. We're going to take your questions and try to give you answers. So welcome, everybody. So World Collage Day, it was an event I created in 2017, with the first one taking place in 2018. And we had been publishing the magazine for some time, and we were starting to really get a sense of how broad and diverse this collage community was. And I was feeling like, you know, we make art in part for ourselves. We make art to engage in the world. We make art to share our ideas. And collage artists are a very particular breed of artists, that they are a little nerdy, a little dedicated, a little obsessed with what type of scissors and glue to use. But more importantly, they are incredibly welcoming. They're incredibly open. And this community is one of the most refreshingly open communities that I think exist in the art world. That if you show up, it doesn't matter whether you've been making collage for 30 years or just were curious what it's about. If you show up, there's a place for you at the table and you can just dive in and get to work. And I was feeling like, and at the magazine, we were feeling like this is really a remarkable thing, and more people need to hear about it. More people need to kind of be welcomed and know that this sort of supportive, caring, kind community exists. And so we created this idea of World Collage Day. And the idea was that collage artists all around the world would plan events in their own communities on this particular day, the second Saturday of May. And that this would be a way to reach out to people's local communities and make those connections, and also make collage visible. We thought by doing it in a global fashion, that was a way to really demonstrate to the rest of the world that we are here and we are armed with scissors and glue, and we've got a good thing going on that's worth discovering. And that was the idea. So we floated the idea, we promoted it, we invited people to send us their events and their projects. And that first year, we had around 50 events in about 30 different countries. And it was remarkable. It was an amazing thing to see posts flooding on Instagram and in social media talking about World Collage Day, and seeing pictures of groups of people in Indonesia, in Japan, across Europe, across the Americas, in Australia, just meeting and celebrating this day. And that's really the genesis of it. It's an opportunity for collage artists to get out of their bubble. You know, we tend to operate with one another. We tend to network with one another, and we do this exceptionally well. Well, this is an opportunity to say, hey, I'm going to go knock on the door of my local art center or museum or gallery and say, let's do something together that raises the profile of collage as a medium. And we'll also say it's an opportunity to build community, that for a lot of artists, you know, we work alone in our studios and we toil and we hope we get it out there, but maybe we only see people when there's an exhibition opening or some sort of event. And World Collage Day is an opportunity to say, hey, yo, collage artists, let's get together and meet one another and connect and see what happens. And I think World Collage Day has been successful at that we've heard a number of stories where people have decided to create an event, put it out there, a whole bunch of people they had no idea existed show up. And from that, we've seen collage communities form, and we've seen exhibitions come out of that. And I think it's just an opportunity, a point of contact that you can run with. How to World Collage Day. How to World Collage Day is super easy. There's like 4 steps. The first step is to find a space. And we recognize that we're doing this under COVID, and that not every jurisdiction or geography is in a good place with respect to the pandemic to meet. But I think this holds up, if not this year, in future years, that finding a space, a public space where people can gather and come together. I've said that can be a gallery, it could be a museum, it could be a coffee shop, it could be a bar, it could be a library, it could be any kind of space where people can get together. That's the first step to planning a World Collage Day event. The second is to define an activity. And sometimes you want to do that with the space, partner with your space. They may have ideas, but really an activity could be as simple as, we're going to get together, we're going to bring some supplies, we're going to cut and paste for an hour. Other folks have done things like an impromptu exhibition. They've hosted workshops, they've done talks, they've done museum tours where they've walked around the museum and talked about the collage that was on view. There's a lot of different ideas, and on the World Collage Day website, you can go back and see what other people have done in years past. Step 3, submit your event to Kolaj Magazine. Now, you don't have to do this step, but we really like to hear about it. And what we try to do is promote those events and let other people know what's going on in other places around the world. And so we try to gather all those events together. And there's a really simple tool on the website that is going to ask you for all the information you would need to submit an event. It's just you answer the questions and it all gets pulled together. And here's the thing, is that if you do that tool, you now have the basis of a very simple press kit, media announcement, calendar listing, whatever you're going to need to promote that event in your own community. And that's the 4th step. Promote it in your own community. Tell your friends, tell the collage artists you know, but also let the local paper know, let your local arts council know. Find those people who can help spread the word. And if collage artists are good at anything, we're good at social media. And so getting it out on social media and using those hashtags, not just hashtag World Collage Day, but also like the hashtags for the arts in your own town or community. And then have the event. That's pretty much it. What we do at the magazine is a couple different things. One is every year we commission a poster, and towards the end of today's event, we're going to reveal the World Collage Day poster artist for 2021. And that poster can be downloaded and printed, and you can do whatever you want with it. We put a high-res PDF online, download it, print it, put it up, stick it in your window, put it around town, collage it, do whatever you want to do with it. We also create a special edition, and that's going to be getting announced tomorrow. The special edition is a little different from the magazine, and the focus is largely on cutout pages. And we've had a wonderful response to our call to artists. And so there will be many cutout pages in that special edition from all over the world. And I'll say, what I like about a cutout page is that it's kind of like getting into the cook's kitchen. You know, you get to see what the artist is thinking about in terms of materials and what they look for to aggregate and put together. So I find these really interesting, almost statements of practice as it relates to kind of material or ideas. And I really enjoy creating the special edition, in part because it's a little peek into the hearts, minds, and souls of collage artists and how they're approaching materials and how their materials inform their practice. And the other thing we do for World Collage Day is we try to make as much noise about it as possible. And one of the ways that we've been trying to do outreach this year, and I'm going to ask Celia Crane to come up, and because she can talk about it. Celia's been doing an incredible job. She has emailed about 500, a little over 500 art centers, galleries, museums. She's just been working it, telling everyone about World Collage Day and encouraging them to find collage artists and create an event. How's that going, Celia? Welcome.
It's going really well, Rick. And hello, everyone. As of this morning, I think 533 personal messages we've sent. So Kolaj Magazine is getting the word out. And I think that, you know, folks around the world are just starting to really wake up to how cool this is, especially in a time of pandemic when people are really looking for ways to enrich and kind of elevate, you know, the humdrum of what we've been going through. So it's been going really, really well, the emailing.
Cool. Well, I'm going to introduce you properly now, because Celia is, she's a collage artist and writer based in Rochester, New York. And in 2020, Celia reappropriated an 8-foot by 8-foot garden shed to create Rochester's first dedicated collage gallery. And Celia, can you tell us a little bit about how that went?
Sure. So it was April 2020, and you know, not being able to go to galleries, not being able to really do any of the types of things that kind of nourished me was really taking a toll. And you used the word bubble, Rick. I think it was more like a bell jar for me. I was kind of collaging in a vacuum, and you know, really, you know, Instagram was my only collage interaction with other artists and with folks that were looking at the stuff I was doing. So I decided to build a gallery, and the only place I could really secure on such short notice was something that, you know, I owned, and it was this kind of derelict shed in the backyard. And so I then through the month of April, pretty much my entire month of April was turning this shed into kind of a cross between like a box gallery and a Shinto roadside shrine. I mean, because it's very small, but you know, I learned how to put up drywall. So I framed it, I put in a floor, painted, and hung 400 feet of lights on the ceiling, put clouds, just so that when you walked in, it was an experience. And then once I was confident, okay, this is you know, weatherproof, I issued an open call. And at this point, I had a very short window. I'm very excited for this year because I have a much larger window. I think we've got 77 days until World Collage Day as of this moment. So I really only had about 3 weeks. I did an open call, and I encouraged folks of all different levels of experience to send art. And I got such a cool response. I got collages from Java, Indonesia, from Madrid, from Paris, from, you know, so it was really, really neat. And these were 90% of the submissions were from folks I'd never met and did not know. And I know them now. So it was really a very cool thing. So the artworks came into my PO box. I then matted and framed all the pieces and hung them more or less salon style in the space. And I called it a virtually virtual exhibition because the primary mode of sharing was going to be social media. But what ended up kind of evolving was I found ways to make it really safe and socially distanced by letting people come and view the exhibition in person by appointment. And I can talk a little bit more about that if anyone's interested, but, you know, having a touchless experience was really essential because this was like, you know, it was May and it, you know, it was a very dangerous time in the world. So we did have about, I think 55 people came through when I had it up, ended up keeping it into June. And it was really exciting. And then at the end of the exhibition, when I took everything down, instead of keeping it or sending it back, what I did was I coordinated an art exchange. So essentially anyone who had submitted a collage received another artist's collage in the mail, kind of as their thanks for participating. And this was really the funnest part for me because like I was like a kid in the candy store with these collages coming in, being able to touch them and see them and look at the textures. And I really wanted to share that with the folks that were, most of which I'd never met, were just interacting by mail. So I sent those out and we'll be doing the same thing. Well, a new exhibition theme, but I'm doing the same thing this year. And we'll be also doing the art exchange. So I'm really excited about it. And I'll just mention too, Rick, in terms of building community, World Collage Day is brilliant, and it did build community for me. In fact, I didn't even know in my own town, there was a group called Rochester Community Collage. I had no idea. So I connected with those guys. This year for the exhibition, I've kind of enlisted their help. Wonderful group of about 15 folks that were gathering weekly, unbeknownst to me. So those folks are involved, and another art organization is going to be involved as well, so that we can have multiple kind of points where folks can get involved in World Collage Day in Rochester.
Very nice.
Thanks.
And space and artists is always a challenge. It feels like sometimes a lot of art spaces feels very well gatekept. Gatekept, is that a word? There's a lot of gatekeeping around art space, and it's kind of interesting when artists make their own or find that space where they can work. And Coupe Collage is another example of that. Let's bring them up for a minute. I think Bram Tunis, did I say that correctly, Bram?
Yeah, very good.
Bram is part of the Coupe Collage Collective. They're a Belgian-based collective of collage artists who in 2018, they invited, well, what they did is they turned these beautiful antique telephone booths at a Brussels train station into small art galleries. And the response from artists and visitors was overwhelming. They decided to turn their occasional activities into a more professional platform, and they became Coupe Collage Collective. That's how you all kind of became a group. But we were talking about this yesterday, and you were originally going to just sneak in there and put up the collage, right?
Yeah, true. We were talking about making some kind of guerrilla activity of it. So that was the first activity we wanted to do, because for my daily boring job, 9-to-5 office job, I need to go to the railway station every day. So I'm traveling by train to Brussels every day. And on those platforms, I could see every morning and every evening that there are 25 antique wooden phone booths, like little vitrines, little private cells, and with a lot of opportunity, but nothing happened there because everybody has a cell phone. Nobody is using the phone booths anymore. And I was thinking, how can we use them once in a while? And the opportunity of World Collage Day was the thing that made me think, okay, maybe we can use this phone booths for a World Collage Day. And because it's not so easy to reach those the management of the railway station, we were thinking of organizing some kind of a guerrilla act and inviting collage artists to take over those phone booths for one night. But then again, we thought it might be a pity of only using one night of those beautiful places. So I reached out to the management of the railway station, and we tried to find an arrangement of how can we use these things, because a lot of people are taking advantage of it, and they want to use it, but they didn't want to go with our proposal the first time. But in the end, we managed to have a good project and talk about all those things, and maybe the support of an international opportunity like World Collage Day made it possible to use those phone booths. So we invited 24 contemporary collage Belgian artists to turn over one of those phone booths into a personal vitrine, a personal gallery for 2 weeks. And so like this, it was a nice opportunity to invite a lot of people, because every day around 25,000 people are passing in that station. A lot of travelers, a lot of people who are not interested in the first place in art, but they were confronted in a very low profile way to those phone booths. So it was pretty amazing to see how many positive reactions we had. And as you said, Rick, We invited like 24 people, but we had 60 collage artists who wanted to participate, and that made for us the click to make it more professional and to start with Coupé Collage Collective. Coupé was the name of the exhibition, because coupé is French for being cut, and it's also French for one part of the wagon of a train. So that was the deal, and so we took that name to create a Coupé Collage Collective, and from that day on we organized a lot of exhibition projects, and every year we want to participate with the World Collage Day.
Very cool. So at 25,000 people a day, that was probably the best attended collage exhibition of all times. That's amazing. Well, thank you. And let's hear next from Suzanne Winkle. Suzanne is, she founded the Arizona Collage Collective in September 2019 with the help of a few others. And for World Collage Day 2020, they mailed over 200 packets of paper cutouts and ephemera to collage artists around the world and posted the resulting collage on their Instagram. An article about her experience appears in Collage 31, and here she is today to share it with us. How are you, Suzanne? Welcome.
I'm good. Hi, Rick.
How many are you mailing out this year?
Well, so far we wanted to get an early start. So we started in January collecting addresses, and I think we have over 250 now, and I'm sure we'll get more. So last year we sent out a little over 200. So
how did this come about? How did it work?
Well, we were planning an event in Phoenix for World Collage Day, and then the pandemic happened, and I had made a bunch of packets for the event. And then when we couldn't have it, I just posted on Instagram and offered the packets to people all over the world for free. And I think probably, I don't know, 200 and some is how many I mailed out. And we only got 3 back undelivered, and those were from Ecuador and Peru. Unfortunately, the mail system wasn't working well back then. I don't know if it is this year either. We'll see. But and then everybody posted the collages they made with the packets on our Instagram page and on a hashtag, and then we featured them on our page.
Nice. And how has this helped you kind of connect with others?
Well, I mean, it's opened up the world for me, for us, for our group. You know, we're in contact with people all over the world right now, and it's just so much fun because all the artists are so generous and supportive, and just really, really great.
Nice.
People.
And so how do we follow along this year? Is there a particular hashtag to see? There's the World Collage Day hashtag, but is there a hashtag for the Arizona Collage Collective?
You know what? I have one, and I'll put it in the chat. Could I do that? But,
yeah.
And for anyone who would like a packet, we are Arizona Collage Collective on Instagram. And then we also have a webpage called arizonacollagecollective.com, where you can go and click on a link and fill out a form. And then I'll put in the chat our bit.ly link also. So we're doing it through Google Forms this year, and that'll make it easier for us. So everyone's invited to request a packet. We send them all over the world.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, let's bring in Christopher Kurtz. And then after we talk to Christopher, we're going to bring everyone back and take some questions. Hello, Christopher.
Hello.
So, Christopher, you're the coordinator of Collage Institute.
It's true.
But you're also the co-founder of the Mystic Crew of Scissors and Glue, a New Orleans-based collage community. And tell us what you did for World Collage Day 2019.
Yeah, sure. So for 2019, we teamed up with a nonprofit organization here in New Orleans called Whole Village Art Therapy. And I know them. The person who runs it is a friend of a friend. So it was an easy sort of joint project to make happen. And they do a lot of good work. They do a number of community-based art group therapy kind of events. And they were doing like this Saturday thing pretty regularly. And then our group, the Mystic Crew of Scissors and Glue, was meeting up at a bar monthly and collaging. And that was pretty much the only activity we were doing at the time. And that's like the extent of the group. And so I saw World Collage Day as an opportunity to sort of step outside of our own little collage bubble. And we created an all ages event with Whole Village Art Therapy. A bunch of children showed up with their parents, and I had the collage materials curated for children. I took out all of the things that, you know, we might have in our community box normally. And it was great. It was a hit. People made little like flip book collages, like comic books. It was super neat. And as a child, like, art camp and art programs like that really got me started. And so it felt good to be able to give back and like pay that forward.
Very cool. And what was the biggest challenge creating an event like that?
You know, I can't say it was very challenging. Collage Magazine was very helpful in promoting it. And Whole Village Art Therapy already had kind of a base, like a network set up, you know, so there were already going to be people showing up for that Saturday event. We just kind of like infiltrated it and turned it into a collage thing. Maybe the most difficult thing was just getting the courage up to ask if, you know, they wanted to do this thing. I think at that point, collage was still this kind of like nerdy little in-group for me, you know, and I was like, nobody else would like this, but they do.
We use nerdy a lot to talk about ourselves, don't we?
I think it's a fair assessment.
Yeah.
I'm embracing it.
Well, before we bring everyone back, I do want to introduce the 2021 World Collage Day poster artist. And this year we did a call for artists and had a wonderful, wonderful selection of submissions to choose from. And we ended up selecting Red Collage, which is a Colombian collective founded in 2017 that works to open up and broaden the scope of collage through exhibitions, workshops, meetups, and a collage club in Bogota. And with us today are Laura and Jorge. Hello, can you join us here?
Hello. Hi, everyone. Hola. We are with Sabrina too.
Fantastic. Hello, welcome.
Gracias.
So, should we share the poster? Should we?
Yes, please.
Take a look.
Yes. We are so excited.
So what? One of the things this is the poster for this year. This is the first time we're showing it. And one of the things we absolutely loved about Red Collage was this idea of their theme. Their theme was the collage is a collective journey. And, you know, for me, and I'm going to be writing about this a little bit in the special edition, that really hit the nail on the head. You know, it's been a rough year with the pandemic, and Brexit, and everything going on. And one of the things that's been remarkable as we canceled a bunch of live events and moved into this virtual space is watching this collage community navigate this terrain together. Like this idea that it's a journey, like journeys are about change and movement, but they're also often about like being together and figuring out those things together. Like if you're traveling with other people, you are immediately a family working out all of the problems. And I felt like this year watching collage artists figure out ways of remaining engaged, being active, connecting with one another in spite of the barriers that were thrown up. It was the kind of problem solving and adventure that makes journey traveling really fun. And I loved the idea of you guys capturing that in this poster. Now, can you tell a little bit about what's going on with the little figures, the characters?
Well, we made two 5 characters that represent our continents, or 5 continents. If you see, the first is a continent that represents America, is a jaguar. Okay, this is the.
Hold on, we'll do this.
All right. Okay, right. For example, this is a crane.
A crane.
A crane.
From Asia.
With other elements that represent an Asian continent. And we made to represent symbolic elements that represent each continent.
This,
Very
for
cool.
example, is this is a mermaid. She's Europe. This is
Oceania.
no sé cómo se dice. Oceania.
America.
And I believe that's Africa.
Africa.
Yeah. Yeah. So thank you. We are excited about this poster, and we're excited to share it and put it out there and make it available for other people. What do you have any words for people thinking about World Collage Day this year?
No.
Can you repeat, please?
Yes.
Do you have any thoughts or wishes for people thinking about World Collage Day this year?
I think that this is an opportunity to get together from the distance to approach the digital source, and as like an Latin American and as a Colombian, this is a huge opportunity to be part of this big day.
And we hope to people searching made other collage that we made or collage poster. No, it's a big opportunity to show our work like a collective. Has a Latin American collective is a big opportunity.
Well, thank you for being part of it. And you know, it's Red Collage has been wonderful, and also as a testament to collage artists. I think when we first started talking, we were using a lot of Google Translate.
Right. Yes.
My Spanish is just
that's
awful.
The way.
But we work it out because that's part of the journey, right? Well, I'd like to bring all of our panelists back, and I'd like to hear what some of the questions are from people watching, tuning in. Christopher, do you want to facilitate some questions for us?
Yeah, sure. Well, one of the things that Rick wanted to ask of all of the panelists is how are you each adapting to the pandemic? I mean, especially regarding World Collage Day, but also within like your own collage groups. And we could, I mean, I could just call out people and we can go around a little bit. All right, so Bram, how about you?
It's been a crazy year for all of us, I guess. So a lot of exhibition and projects had to be reduced and has to be reconsidered and thought about how we could think over them again. And so for the new World Collage Day project, we are only making a digital version of it. Other years we were connecting to a real life exhibition. This year we only will have a digital hashtag social media forum to be able to include a lot of people and still to be able to have yeah, some kind of platform to give people the chance to put their works on screen. So yeah, we tried to deal with the pandemic. It was a crazy year. Maybe if I have 2 minutes to talk about one project we did during the pandemic. I am working in the youth care facilities in Belgium, and a lot of youth care facilities had to close down their work. So a lot of young people were did not have the opportunity to reach out to other people again. So we invited like 50 collage artists, and we connected them to youth care organizations. And we asked the collage artist to put up a mail art concept with the patients or the clients of the youth care organizations. And like this, we organized very basic thing, just a mail art project, and in 1 month between April and May 2020 we had 3,000 art pieces who were being made by the youth care clients. So that was an amazing thing that was organized in only a few days. So like this, we tried to do something also during the pandemic.
That's very interesting. I'm sorry, Bram, because, you know, I think that like Christopher's experience with World Collage Day, we forget what good community service we can do by just engaging, that we have a really easy medium that, you know, can be taken out into the world. We don't need a lot of equipment. We don't need a lot of, the mess we make is easily cleaned up, right? So I like hearing that. Yeah, very cool.
Red Collage, how about y'all? How are you dealing with the pandemic? Oh, you're muted right now.
As we say right now, it was an opportunity because we always work in Colombia and maybe with some artists from Latin America, but with the pandemic, we have to change our work.
We work face-to-face
in the past, before the pandemic.
But now we work with social media like Instagram or
live from Instagram, and we talk with people from Peru, from Spain,
Mexico.
So, yes.
We made in our page, official page, for example.
Our website.
The website. We create the website. I think that we could. We hope to share with other people in the world, no? Not only in Latin America. We hope to share with Europe, Africa, Asia.
Excellent, thank you. Celia, how about you?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, Rochester Community Collage is a small, really inclusive community group that was getting together prior to the pandemic once a week. And since I didn't find them until COVID hit, I kind of missed out on those physical meetings, but we soon agreed that Zoom would be a good second. So we have been Zooming, and a Zoom collage session is, in my experience, is really just like sitting in a room with a bunch of like-minded people working quietly. It's almost like parallel play. We don't do a lot of talking, everyone's collaging, but we're on the Zoom, we know we're there. Every once in a while, someone will speak. And it's really neat to see how different the collages are that come out of those group meetings. The big push this year, now that these guys are involved with all my plans for this next exhibition, we were inspired, in fact, by Suzanne's program, and we're putting together, so I've got 15 other people helping make cuts, and we won't be shipping them, but we're going to have packets ready. So on World Collage Day, we're going to be encouraging folks that are new to collage to come and pick up at one of our locations one of these packets. And so hopefully we're still working out the logistics of all that, but we're hoping that some of those might make it back for the exhibition for next World Collage Day. So we're trying to get kind of a little grassroots community growth with our community collage, but we really haven't been gathering in person just because of the challenges of it. And two, it's winter, it's 20 degrees here in Rochester, so you really can't do much outside. So hopefully that will all change in the spring.
Yeah, I love seeing that like cross-pollination. You're inspired by Suzanne, you're doing something now. I think that's great. Suzanne, how about Arizona Collage Collective?
Well, we've been meeting online once a week just to gather, and we just do our own thing, kind of. We really don't have an agenda, but it's fun just to talk with people and share ideas and get ideas. And then my friends, two of them, I want to give them a shout out. Lynette Guck and Dawn Hudson have been helping me put packets together. So we've been wearing masks and gathering in a room and doing the packets. So
that's great.
Trying to be safe.
Can you actually, somebody asked about the collage behind you. Can you talk a little bit about that?
The collage is behind me. There's 3 boards back there, 3 big canvases. And so I started with the very first collage, World Collage Day. Thank you guys. And so I had the participants design a square and then, you know, put it on the board. So I have 3 boards from the 3 past World Collage Days. That's what these are. And the packets look like this. There's all kinds of really cool stuff in them. And we're excited to get them out to you guys and to see what kind of art you make from them.
That's awesome. Donna Durbin asked, they have a collage group that meets online. And so this might be more of a question for Rick, but how can they participate with their virtual group?
Yeah, you know, I'll be honest. I've spoken about this a little bit before, and I love that we could all come together on a day like this, but I utterly hate the virtual stuff. That it's, you know, it is perfectly okay to celebrate World Collage Day however you want, and definitely in this time of a pandemic, the virtual stuff is a great tool. It is perfectly okay to create an online event and to share that. But I would say that I would encourage folks to think about how they connect with people in their own communities. That one of the challenges of our time is that we can connect and be with people across the world, right? Like right now, we're in North America, Latin America, and Europe. That is incredible. But it is also equally incredible to be in the same room with other human beings who live in the same town, who participate in your own communities. And my concern, my fear of of how the pandemic will change our culture is that it will move us into virtual space more and more in a way that we will lose sight of that. And the thing is, you know, when you connect with people in your own community, there's a different sort of magic that happens. There's a magic when you can connect with people across the world, but there's also a magic with your own neighbors. And one of the things I like about World Collage Day, encouraging people to create local events, is that all of a sudden you're connecting with people who may be on the periphery, who you may not know exist, who may need their own encouragement to join and participate or become active. You know, what's interesting about going to a collage meetup is that you see people wander in and they're kind of like, I'm not sure this is for me. And all of a sudden they're connecting with a community that they didn't even know existed or didn't even think they might have been a part of. And that's really important to the human condition, that we find those people that we can connect with. And the other thing I would say is that when you do a local event, you inspire other people. You inspire people in your community. You inspire people in other communities. I love what Bram did in the Coupe Collage Collective did in Belgium. And now every time I see an old phone booth, I think that should be an art gallery. You know, like that inspires me. You know, I love what Suzanne has done in just the initiative of kind of getting these things out into people's hands. Like, that's amazing. And I will not pass an old derelict shed without thinking of Celia and how we turn that into an art gallery, you know? And so, you know that like, when you do this sort of culture work, this community organizing, this bringing people together, you also inspire other people to do the same. And if there's one thing we should battle fiercely, it's that in our modern societies, it's very easy to be isolated, and it's very easy to allow others to be isolated. And so those events for me are like, break down the isolation, connect with people. Somebody, I think in the chat, not to cut in front of you, Christopher, but somebody talked about bringing how to get packets into a nursing home or an elderly home. Yes, like, you know, that's a great way of, I mean, frankly, it would be weird to be like, hey, I heard some old people are lonely. I want to go and make them less lonely. That's really odd. But you know what? It's not odd. Hey, we've got these cutout packs. We have a reason to talk, you know, we have a reason to connect. And what's amazing about that is then you get to connect with those people and hear their stories and hear their experiences. So we can use art, right? We can use art to break through the isolation, to connect with one another. And it's very easy to connect with very like-minded people online. Like that's what makes online space really wonderful. And I also think it's really good to be brave and go out there and call up that nursing home and saying, I want to do collage with a bunch of people. How do we make it happen?
I think there's a fear that they'll say no, but that's the worst that they could do is say no, you know, like just reach out.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a question about copyright concerns when collaging, which is a question we get a lot. And I think we're going to probably put together a program just on that at some point in the future. My advice is don't worry about it, but I don't know, that maybe isn't Collage Magazine's stance on it.
You know, I appreciate the question. Every time we do a Collage online forum, we get a question about copyright and glue. And so, you know, the copyright in the chat, I posted the Collage Art Association's best practices for fair use. But to say the answer and move on, here's what I think about copyright. If you're so successful that you're being sued for copyright infringement in your collage, congratulations, you're that successful. Number one. Number two, the moment you start collaging things is the moment it becomes fair use. And I am not a lawyer, but that's what they always tell me. And so, you know, don't let that stop your creativity. Go forward, do it up. But in terms of appropriating material and using it, that's what fair use is for. And I would also say that, well, I'll just leave it there. And Murray, I hope that helps.
Yeah, that's great. There's also a lot of questions about packet making. Any advice for that? And I'll just start us off, and then we'll move around, because Mystic Crew of Scissors and Glue also did collage packets last year. We made, or no, 2 years ago, we made them for Collage Fest. That didn't really end up getting used because Collage Fest got rained out by a hurricane. But something our group did was, I mean, we're all collecting and hoarding these like cutouts and these pieces and these pages ripped out. And so, I mean, our collection grows and grows, and, you know, we use the things that are immediately interesting to us, like in that moment. And then stuff kind of gets like pushed to the back of the drawer. And so we all felt like this was a good opportunity to clear that out and, you know, let other people have a chance with this stuff, which is also really fun because it's like, it's things that you curated, kind of like a cutout page. And then you get to see what other people think about it. You know, like my mind goes one way when I look at an element, but someone else comes up with something else that surprises me, you know. Suzanne, do you want to talk about any advice you have for collage packet making?
I would say get lots of friends to help you because it's a lot of work. But the people that I have, my friends who are helping me, have a lot of different kinds of interesting ephemera. So this year, because last year I did it all on my own and it was mostly the cutouts. This year we have all kinds of interesting doodads. We'll have to wait and see, but you know, things that people like to collage with that aren't necessarily a specific cutout or a specific image. And you know, old things, old pages from old books and things like that. So that's what we'll be including this year.
Excellent. Celia, you're making packets too. Do you want to add anything?
Well, the only thing I'll add, and I'm hesitant to do so because I hate to talk about things before I've committed to them, but someone had a brilliant idea about packets before, during, and after World Collage Day. I'm sure everyone's familiar with those little library house boxes you can put like in your front yard for like take a book, leave a book type of thing. Well, we had the idea of setting up one of those. It's probably going to end up in my yard, but setting up one of those and having packets available and like, you know, you're letting the local news know that, hey, this is a resource for people. If you want to come get collage materials, you could just come and get them. It would save on shipping because, you know, Suzanne, you know, I feel for you. It gets very expensive to ship things everywhere. So, you know, at least for our local area, we're thinking of doing that beyond World Collage Day. But kind of to Suzanne's point, when I first started putting together packets just for people I knew, and I put together kind of some, you know, emergency first aid collage packets during the early days of the pandemic for some folks that I knew were kind of isolated. I always did the really, you know, very more careful cuts than I would even do for myself, for my own practice, but, you know, really tiny little perfect things. Now it's a real mix, you know, torn paper with color, just really neat textures. You know, there's been different ephemera that have been going in these things. And I think some of it will be very interesting to people and some of it won't. And that's fine. And that's what collage is. You pick what speaks to you, you know. So there is the packets that we're putting together right now aren't as fancy as Suzanne's. They're just in like gallon Ziploc bags, but they're kind of stuffed, you know. So there should be something in there for someone to feel inspired. And we're throwing in some substrate as well. So someone could essentially have everything they need other than a glue stick to get started.
Awesome, yeah. And then Christopher Byrne just posted about Danielle Cole's collage kits that we wrote about in issue 29 of Kolaj Magazine. And also Planet Collage is in the chat. They did packets for the first Collage Fest, and they do packets often. So there are lots of sources out there. If that's something that you're interested in, reach out to these people if you want more advice. There's also a question about like paying for the postage. And I think that kind of brings up a larger question of like, you know, expenses when it comes to putting on an event, like, you know, when it comes to putting on a World Collage Day event. My personal opinion is to try to do it as cheaply as possible, free, if at all possible. My collage group, we already have lots of materials available to us that we've been collecting over the years. We try to find spaces that aren't going to cost us any money, but does anybody want to speak to that? Oh, I mean, Suzanne, maybe to start with, like, how does your group handle the finance portion of that?
Well, I paid for all the postage last year, and we will find a way to pay for the postage. This year, I want it to be free. I don't want people to have to send money and do all that. So as long as we can do it, we will send them out free. But yeah, it adds up, definitely.
Yeah, and I'm sure Celia, getting your shed together wasn't free, right?
Well, it wasn't, and the harder thing was finding stores that were open for materials. But you know, that was something that will go on and on. I think the thing that was tricky was when it came to the art exchange portion of the exhibition. I had asked people to send a self-addressed stamped envelope to try to, you know, manage some of that cost, but you know, people forget, and I'm not going to mention it because I really just wanted to encourage people to participate. So there are hidden costs and things like that, but I think that more often than not, the larger our community involvement grows, the less it costs because we have more people with more available resources. And so I think the key is get people in the community involved. Because if I hadn't known the folks I know last year, I probably could have found someone that could have told me how to hang drywall without having to look at 100 YouTube videos. You know what I mean? So the community involvement part, I think, is key to keeping it low cost.
Yeah.
I would also add to that planning, you know, there's a planning element too, which is, you know, we're talking about 2021 because that's the next one, but there will be a World Collage Day in 2022 and 23 and 24 and hopefully moving forward in eternity. And, but if you can, you know, get ahead on the planning, then it's a lot easier to take advantage of grant funding, find a fiscal sponsor if you're in the US, and that's important. Or if you're in Canada, partnering with an artist-run center. In Europe, there are different ways that you can kind of pursue artist funding. And you can also fundraise throughout the year, depending on how ambitious you want to be and how much budget one needs. But that's another place where, you know, building a relationship with an organization can really help because they can both guide that process and inform that process. And also just including your event and activity in broader fundraising that they're already doing.
Bram, did you want to add anything to the funding and planning of events? How does Coupe handle that?
I just put it in the chat also for the World Collage Atlas. We did 2 years ago. We invited like 180 artists from around the world, from 35 different countries to make a collage on an original page from one antique atlas. And so we had to send that page to the artist, and then again the artist had to send it back to us. So it was on a big format envelope, so that took a little cost. So we asked the artist to pay for those costs by PayPal, and that was okay. It was not that expensive. But some of the artists put on some the price of the how should I say it in English, how much the artwork was worth. So they put like 500 euros on the envelope. So I had to pay every time that one piece of art entered into Belgium. So that it was not only about the postal cost, it was about the douane, I don't know.
The customs?
Customs,
definitely. Yeah, custom. Yeah, true.
Yeah.
And that's important if you send like an original artwork for a project, that you make some kind of an agreement on how to do that, because otherwise it might cost a lot of money.
That's good advice that somebody might not be considering if they're doing this for the first time. I think we need to start wrapping up. We should talk about the poster is going to be available for everyone to download, print out. We're hoping to see this poster plastered over every wall and window across the world. So look forward to that. I think we'll be getting it up on Sunday or Monday.
Yep.
Excellent. Red Collage, do you want to add anything else before we say goodbye about the poster or about your plans?
Yes, we want to thank you all for this opportunity, and we are very happy and very grateful to be here. And we hope this experience led us to open frontiers, borders. And hope to see you in the future, face to face or something.
In other exhibits or different activities, we hope to know all people that made collage.
And thanks for being patient to our English.
I'm not poor English. Yes.
Oh, it's great. No, thank you. Thank you so much. Is there anything you'd like to say in Spanish to any of our Spanish attendees?
Sí, que sí quiero decir algo en español.
Bueno, no, pues a todas las personas que nos han visto durante todo este proceso. Hemos trabajado ya durante 3 años y medio y seguimos trabajando por crear comunidad en el collage. Comenzamos en Colombia, lo hacemos en Latinoamérica y ahora estamos expandiéndonos y precisamente de eso habla en nuestra imagen, de que el collage nos conecta como colectividad y como comunidad en el mundo y que es una gran oportunidad poder estar acá.
Y gracias.
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 Thank you. Thank you all.